Hey, how's everybody doing? So, it's been an entire week. An entire week. How's everybody doing? Has anybody been able to go ahead and download the new ZBrush 2019 yet? As you can see right over here. It's pretty exciting. Okay. Just gonna kind of start off by talking about it a little bit. Let's see if I can adjust my camera. Want to make sure that there's not, good composition. Want to make sure that there's good composition. I used to work as a storyboard artist, and it kind of drives me nuts when there's bad composition. So, okay, the thing that we want to be able to talk about today, ZBrush 2019 just came out. Okay, they had the reveal yesterday, and yeah, I don't think Thomas, not Thomas, oh my goodness. Hey Kim, how you doing? Kim Kiyoshi. That is a cool name. Was it Mike? I can't remember who it was that streamed earlier today, but somebody streamed today. But I think I'm the first one that gets to stream with ZBrush 2019. So, what I want to start off doing, just really, really simple. I want to tell you about the installation process. And if you're working with like an old version of ZBrush too, yeah, don't forget, if you own a license to ZBrush, it's a free upgrade. So it's definitely worth your while upgrading. Yes, it is a free update. Good to see you, Stang. Good to see you. So yeah, definitely worth your while in updating. There are a lot of really cool, neat features, which they did go through and explain at their broadcast yesterday. I got it. Zancudos. Mosquitoes. So, don't want the mosquitoes in the room while I'm trying to broadcast. It's kind of dumb. So it's really cool. I'm just going to go ahead and talk a little bit about how you go through install, possibly how you can go through and uninstall old versions, and then how you get your ZBrush set up. I'm going to show you a couple of tips and tricks to be able, how I do mine, so you can, know how, maybe just some things to consider when you're setting up yours. Okay, so I mean, if you wanted to go in here, when you go to the Pixelogic website, okay, so here's main pixelogic.com. You can click down right underneath there, underneath the big image, the first image that pops up, there's ZBrush 2019. You can click on it there and you can buy it, or you can come up to the top, ZBrush, and you can follow the links to be able to get through. Okay, lots of really cool things that they showcase as part of the software. But then to be able to go through and download and activate, if you already own ZBrush, you can go into, like we had before. Let's go back over to Pixelogic. You can come to Get Help and go to My Licenses. I'm not going to go there because it's got my, my key and things like that. So it's a great way to be able to get to your product license information if you need it. But then you got over here, you got really, really easy to see, really easy to get to. So you have your downloads. Okay, download buttons to be able to download your software, and I think you can only download it like 5 times in a 24-hour period, which you don't really need to do more than once, unless it messes up the first time. So anyway, you'll have key information here. Typically it'll go through, it'll have an extra little bar, an extra window there where you can see your key information for ZBrush 2019. They're working out a few little kinks and things like that, but just so you know, that is there, that's in that information. So when you download, you get your little installer. Mine's just inside of my downloads folder. You like my desktop? That's the piece that I did for the beta testing. It was really fun. I was able to use the new features, the folders, the folder Boolean functions, things like the spotlight, Good grief. Spotlight alphas, the 3D snapshot. 3D snapshot, really good, easy stuff to use. Yeah, anyway, so you double click on that, you're able to go through, you'll go through a series of windows. This isn't the first one, but you'll accept the agreement. Okay, really super easy. It'll ask you where you want to install it. If you're somebody that has multiple hard drives on your computer, this will be a great opportunity for you to be able to decide where you want to be able to save it. So for instance, if you have a C drive and a D drive, and your C drive is maybe maybe it's a regular SATA drive, but you want to save it to maybe your D drive that has maybe you have a solid state D drive. That's a great opportunity for you to be able to decide where you want to install it. If you have it working off of a solid state drive, it tends to run faster. So it's really great. Jorge, Palma de Llama. That's funny. ZBrush Core, I think, is coming. ZBrush Core tends to follow ZBrush, like the standard ZBrush, by I really don't actually know how much, but it does follow it by a few days. Oops. Let's see. Gotta mute my phone real quick so that I don't get any weird notifications. Set that right there. Alright, so yeah, you can determine where you save that. You go through, you hit install, get beautiful, artwork while you're waiting. Okay. Now here's some cool things that I want to be able to show you. When this pops up, okay, when ZBrush first pops up, you always get this this home page window that pops up, and to me it's kind of irritating. I don't always like to have it, but it's good for news. So I like to go through and change the options so that it's changed to show if news is updated. And then you just click on the little X arrow, the little X option, and you go through and you get to put in your Pixelogic login. Okay. If I go too fast through this, I don't want to dwell on all this stuff because this is simple stuff. But I do want to go through and kind of show. Hola, Sonio. Hey, how you doing, Mitch? Yeah, so then you go through. This is great. With the last version or two, the last couple of versions of ZBrush, this is how they've gone through and activated licenses, is through a login system rather than going through and I can't remember very well how the old system was. I think it was like you had to email in for an activation, and then you had to wait for the other. Doing pretty well. Yes, it was irritating. It was irritating, but yeah, so it's much better now. Just simply log in with your Pixelogic ID and you're good to go. Now, this is kind of like this is what will happen. Once you log in, it'll take you to this page, and you have to log in online, okay? It'll take you in and it'll ask you about your licenses, okay? So it'll show you have a couple different license options here. It's interesting. So this is kind of the trick that I ran into today that I was able to get 2019 up and running with. I hit activation on this ZBrush 2018 slot, and that activated my license for 2019 just fine. I don't know if it's something that they will be changing or that they will be fixing at any time. But just so you know, that is an option. That's something that's there for you. That's how I fixed it. That's how I was able to access my ZBrush 2019, is I hit the select button. So really simple. You go back to ZBrush, you hit check my license, and you're good to go. You are good to go. So this brings us to blank screen. Okay, I want to show you how I set up ZBrush. I work with two monitors. So the monitor you guys are seeing is my second monitor. ZBrush is actually pulled up, but it's on my first monitor. So what I want to do, I'll show you in a second. You want to hit the kind of this button right here. If you're working on a secondary monitor, you want to hit that button to be able to, bring it over and reposition it on the second monitor, and you can click it again to be able to make it big on your screen. Okay, really helpful. It'll probably be a little while before I get 2019. Computer I use for ZBrush doesn't have the internet, so I'm going to have to unplug it all, bring it to the house, connect it to the internet. Do it as soon as you can, Mitch. Yeah, the spotlight features are super helpful, so it'll be really cool. I don't know how much I will dive into the spotlight features with my stream, but I don't know. We might find some good uses for it. We'll have to figure it out. I might be able to go through and use it to create things like different different candy pieces. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to play with it. Okay, so default ZBrush. This is just how it is. I like to keep my ZBrush very default. I don't like to change a whole lot of things. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to dive into preferences. Lightbox will open up. Okay, it's this big library of things right here that you see when you open up ZBrush. One of the things I like to do is I like to come into preferences down to Lightbox, and then right here, let's hit Shift M so I can get my magnifying glass. Ooh, magnifying glass. Open at launch. Okay, I turn that off. I don't like having it opening at, when I start. It doesn't really matter a whole lot to me. Really quick and easy to get to it. I leave the button there so I can just click on that if I need it, or I can hit the comma key. Okay, so really easy, really simple. Okay, so that's one thing I like to do. Okay, preferences. Is it custom UI? No, it's interface. Right here, UI. This button size, I like to drag that down. Now this is something that requires a restart of ZBrush, but we'll get to that in a minute. The reason why I like to go through and do that, again, preferences, interface, UI, button size, dragging it down. Okay, so the reason why I like to do that is that it allows me to be able to see all my buttons that are over here on the right side of my document space. Okay, I like to be able to get to the buttons that are at the bottom. Bichad, my brother, how you doing? Long time no see. Long time no see. Yeah, doing it on Monday, yeah, that could work. That could work. I mean, especially if you're not going to get any time in on it here on the weekend. Been waiting to turn off that Lightbox startup for ages. Yep, that's where it is. That's where it is. Can you remember where it is? Let's see if you can remember where it is. Put it in the comments. Muscle memory presses the comma every time, so I need to press it again to turn it off. That's funny. That is funny. Going to update right now. Maybe I should have kept one license activated for 2018. So here's the trick. I still have 2018 active. Let me show you something. Okay, so let's bring over my folder. This is the folder of the pictures that I was showing you before starting on stuff. In fact, did I show that one? Oh, okay, so this is in case you have to go through and do the offline registration process. I just hit my mouse. Okay, so yeah, that's how you go through and do that. So I'm going to jump over to my Pixelogic folder. Okay, the way to be able to get to that, okay, I guess just to be able to go about it the long way, on a PC. Okay, on a Mac it's going to be different. Your folder hierarchy is different. So you go to PC. Okay, let's expand this out a little bit. Go into your C drive. This is where all of my folders are, all of my files. Okay, I'm going to go Program Files, Pixelogic, ZBrush 2019 or 2018. Okay, so since I'm wanting to go through and deactivate and get rid of ZBrush 2018, I can double click on 2018. I can come down here to uninstall, which is right here at the top. Okay. You still have R6 active. Awesome. The nice thing about going through and getting rid of the old versions of ZBrush is that it saves up space on your computer. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of program files and things like that. So, you know, it's up to you. So you can just come in here. You can double click on this, and then once that's done, it'll run through. It'll delete everything in here except for a couple of folders. There are a couple of folders. I can't remember which ones they are. But then you can just come out here to your Pixelogic folder, right click, hit delete, and boom, you're done. Okay, it's a really quick, easy process. It doesn't take much time. The reason I'm not going to do that yet is because I still have some brushes and things that I want to make sure that I get transferred over just you know, well enough. So yeah, that'll be fun. I've started, you know, just for the sake of being smart, I started going through and compiling materials and brushes and now filter sets and things like that I want to be able to keep and have easy access to in the future. So that's that. That's how you go through and do that. Okay, so now to continue setting this up, really super simple. By the way, 130 people, 132, 129. We've got a lot of people on right now, and this is really cool. Because so far I haven't gone through and done anything super cool. All right, so I'm just going to pull this over here. It's the document menu set, the document palette. You just pull it up over here, but just so we can see it. I know that it's coming up behind the chat on the on the stream. So what we want to do, we are going to first things first. The gradient. I hate having a gradient on the back of my images most of the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this range slider. Okay, this is your background gradient range. So I can just take that and I can slide it, and I go all the way down to 0. Okay, really simple. This this is your background color. Okay, this is really easy to go through and deal with. You just click and drag. You can drag to any color on your screen. This is really useful. You can't drag it off of the UI. It's just whatever color you can find on the UI. Sorry if that's like hurting everybody's eyes. One of the things that I like to do, I like to color pick. So you get to different colors by clicking and dragging. So I can click and drag to like this hand. If you want a lighter gray, this is a great color for me. I like using this a lot. Okay. Well, Mitch, if you like that gradient, then you know, everybody can join the gradient club. I think Mitch is president. Mitch is Sumerian King over on Twitch, so go give him a follow. He's also a brilliant sculptor. I've printed a couple things for him. Really good, just awesome dude. Anyway, the other color I like to grab is the top bar up here. You'll see that it's really dark, so it depends on what material I'm working with. But I really like grabbing those two grays. Okay, the hand on scroll, and then the menu up or the top bar along here. Okay, so that's one thing to be able to get our document working the way that we want it. The other thing I'll do. Yeah, Stang likes blue. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it seems like Shane likes the big blue. Yeah, it is Shane. Does like a blue UI and whatnot. It's kind of fun, but I like it. I like to keep it pretty vanilla. The other thing I'll do, this Pro, turn that off. That's proportion constrained, so it's going to keep your dimensions the same. What I like to do is I like to change this to 2500. Numlock 2500 by 2500. And then you go ahead and hit resize. Okay. Just hit actuals to make sure that we're centered there, that we're nice in a good spot. David Martinez. Dude, that dude's awesome too. Over on Facebook. Good to see you, man. How you been doing? He's one of my favorite people to hang out with at the summit. Okay, cool. So I go through and do that. Once I'm done with that, you hit resize, you're good to go. Okay. So now that I have my document the way that I want it, I have to come up here to the top, this top menu set. At the bottom of that menu set, it says Save as Startup Doc. So once I hit that, it's going to be like that every time I open up ZBrush. Okay, I don't have to worry about going in and resetting it every single time. I don't have to worry about the gradient. I don't have to worry about changing the color. I don't have to worry about the dimensions. Everything's going to be that same way. So really super helpful. Okay. In fact, this is this dimension option is something that I learned about, gosh, maybe 4 years ago. And it was funny because some of my friends from the Sculpt Off, when I participated in 2016, they didn't know that that was there, and so I felt super knowledgeable. It was fun. Okay, so for document, that's all I need. Okay, that's all that I care about. So we're good to go. I'm going to hit that. Let's open up Tool again. Now here's something that I like to do. There are options for you to be able to, oh, something else I gotta do. So preferences, I gotta go to config and store config. Now what this will do is it'll keep your arrangement the way that it is. Okay, so like if you have rearranged any buttons, or if you have changed your UI from one screen to the other, it's going to remember where you store, where you put that, where you set things up. Okay, so I hit store config. Okay, so a master configuration file has been saved successfully. It will be restored every time you start ZBrush. Awesome. Not even 5 minutes being here and I already learned something new. I'm glad I could do that because I feel like I'm being like super, hopefully I'm not going too fast. If you have questions about like what I do to be able to set things up, then feel free to ask. I am way open to doing that. Okay, so the other thing I want to do, when you hit Control S, by default, it's going to save a project, which in turn is also going to save things like if you have multiple tools open, or if you have things on your timeline set up, you know, if you have movie information, what are some of the other things? Undo history. It's going to save all sorts of garbage that you don't need. So what I like, favorite material too. Yes, you can. Okay, so for material, I'm going to come over here. I like to select this basic material. That's just going to be my startup material. So what I can do to be able to save that, you select whichever one you want to use, whichever one you want it to be as your default when you start up, and you go down to the bottom of your material palette there, and you say save as startup. You can't see that one. Everyone's default is the red. Yeah. It's funny because with, was it 4R8? I think with 4R8, which is the last time I did beta testing, they had actually made it so that basic material was the startup material. They've recently gone back and kind of brought it back up. But yeah, so that's how you go through and you can save out a startup material. Is you go to the bottom of that material menu and there's the save as startup material. Okay. So really quick and easy. Everyone's favorite, default red. Okay, the other thing I want to do, if you want to set a custom hotkey, okay, this is super helpful. Like I said, Control S is to save a project and it'll save all the extra garbage, the undo history, all the tools that you have open, everything. Okay, so instead, I want to save tool as. Okay, so that's what I want to have happen when I hit Control S. So to be able to hit a new hotkey, again, you know, it's a lot of information. Let me know. The first tip, you missed it. Oh no. Let me know what the context was. Let me know what I was saying around it, and I'll let you know. But to be able to hit the, was it about the material, about changing material, startup material? be able to change hotkey. Okay, so Control Alt, and then you click on the button. Okay, along the top you can see it says press any combination to assign a custom hotkey, or press Escape or mouse button to cancel, or press Delete to remove previous custom assignment. Okay, so really helpful. So I'm going to hit Control S. Okay, so now it says custom hotkey assigned successfully. Okay, so now remember at the beginning I went through preferences and I hit my interface and I changed my button size down to all the way down, just all the way down, so that I can get all my buttons in the good size. Okay, so what I want to do now, I want to make this so that it's easier for me to navigate and see all my buttons. So I'm going to just, it says I need to restart ZBrush. Okay, so I'm just going to do that real quick. It's going to say save changes to startup hotkeys. Every time you do that, every time you set a new hotkey, it's going to ask you this. So you can just say yes, and now we're good to go. So let's go ahead, we'll start up ZBrush again. Soul Justice said he learned something. All right. VODs are saved for that reason. Now, this is going out to you, Volt Killer. What is a VOD? Version of default. So now you can see, like, I can see all of my buttons. Okay, I don't have to worry about struggling. You know, these buttons over here on the right of my document, they were clear down, you know, like almost off the screen. Video on demand. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Yeah, that's exactly why the VODs are saved. Dude, awesome. Yeah. Yep, you're absolutely right. Okay. Yep, it's recording. So yeah, we're good. Okay, so now with all that set up, I leave everything else pretty much basic. So we talked about going through, changing some of the document settings, which again, you know, you can only see part of those. We talked about coming over to our preferences. We talked about making sure that the lightbox doesn't open at start. You notice it didn't open when we started this up, which is great. The other thing that happened is that since we had changed the options on that, you know, that initial home window that pops up to only show when news is updated, that didn't pop up. So we're good to go now. So, you know, if I wanted to, I could also go Control-Shift-Click just one more time, just be able to show assigning custom hotkeys. Okay, now Control-O. Okay, so now we have Control-O to be able to load a tool. Okay, so really cool. Cool, so Control-O, bring that up. The window popped up over to the side, so we'll probably end up having to save our configuration again after we've saved, so that we can make sure that all of our save and open windows are popping up where we want them, right? Okay, cool. Let's go in and start doing some cool stuff. Candyland me up. All right, so if any of you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen my dragon and the progress that I've made I went through and retopologized them. And of course all my materials are messed up, so I gotta like load them in, you know, all that. Okay, let's that's one of the terrible things about doing these things. Just for the sake of showing one more tool, I guess. This will be helpful. So I'm just going to flood the whole thing with Skin Shade 4, because why not? Okay, so I'm going to go to Plugin, to Z Plugin. We're going to go to Subtool Master, and I'm going to hit Fill. Okay, what this is going to do is it's going to fill all my objects, but I want it to, you know, it's going to give me options. Okay, so color, material, or color and material. I'm just going to do material. I just want everything to be a basic skin shade 4. Yeah. Yeah, Ferja, P, Herja, Ferja. Let me know how to say that. But yeah, Control S is definitely that's always what I put. That's what I set for save tool as. Makes it really helpful. So fill all with that material. Okay, now you see it's going through and it is filling everything with that material. So now it's a lot easier to see all of that. Okay, except those teeth don't seem to like the material. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to go ahead and select material over here. We have the skin shade, color, fill object. Ooh, fill object gradient. That's kind of cool. Interesting. Okay, let's see if we can get this to work. Okay. Weird. Weird. Okay, so it's a problem if things are masked. I should have thought to look at that first. That's really funny. Alright, now we're good though. Now we are good. Okay, so to be able to show you, do it again, I missed it. Okay. Hiya, Dave. Dave is a connoisseur of all things truffle pizza. He's the one that introduced me to the pizza over at, I can't even remember what the place is called, but it's over in Hollywood, not too far from Noman. We went there for the ZBrush Summit, a whole bunch of us. It was fun. Okay, so here's what we've got. Okay, this is the topology that I went through and developed. This is a really quick and easy topology to develop. The reason why it was quick and easy is that I initially went through and laid in polygroups. I'm pretty sure I have the process up on my Twitch channel. You can find the link, not the link, but the yeah, and all things cheese, little Wisconsin cheesehead. Anyway, yeah, you can find the video going over to my Twitch channel or to my YouTube channel. You look me up underneath Smartest. It's easy enough to find. But yeah, so this was all done using polygroups, ZRemesher, but this is with ZRemesher 2.0, and now with the new ZBrush we get a new version of the ZRemesher. So, you know, pretty cool, pretty effective, pretty great way to do everything. Right now my document feels too dark. I'm just gonna go ahead and let's get something not as dark, not as light. Let's see. Yeah, that'll be pretty good. Julio, ¿cómo te va? Have you started streaming yet, dude? Okay, so that's what we've got. Okay, what I want to do, let's I want to get rid of the back of the head here. Let's see, geometry. This real quick, because in order to excuse me, in order to delete pieces, we're gonna have to go, well, Control Shift, tap on it, and then double tap it. Okay, we need to make sure that our geometry has no subdivision levels. Okay, and we can go modify topology, delete hidden. Okay, cool. Now I want to mask everything except for this border. Okay, so there are a couple ways to go about that. You can go with ZModeler, and you can go mask edge loop partial, click on it, and then control click in the empty space to invert it. Real simple. Okay. I just want this to be nice and flush. One of the things I can do is I'm going to use, let's use our move tool. Okay, this is old move tool. Okay, this is the transpose line. I love the transpose line. Okay, I'm used to it from back like the old days. Of course, I know people that are from older days, but I'm not going to rub it in their face. Oh, here's another thing that I like to do. My draw size by default only goes up to 1000. Okay, so two ways you can get around your brush size problems. Okay, one is not as good as the other. The good way is that I'm a noob. Don't make fun of noobs. Okay, so over here, this dynamic button, if you deactivate that, you'll notice I still have a brush size of 626, but the brush is huge. Okay, turn it back on, and now it's at a size of 884, but it's small. Okay, so this dynamic is really, really helpful to be able to get a really large brush size that'll be just as powerful, just as nice. Okay, so this is really good. The other thing you can do is under preferences, you can go draw, and this max brush size, drag that all the way up to 5000. Okay, so now if I go up here, I can say config, store config. Okay, it'll be saved and it'll work. Okay, great, sweet. All right. When I'm using move brushes, I like to make the focal shift a little bit bigger. You know, usually between 20 and 50. It just makes it so that the transition of whatever it is I'm using it on is much more gradual and it's not as harsh. Oh shoot. Okay. Yeah, it's too much. Okay. Nerds, look at that. I did not mean to do that. Okay, but there's a simple fix. Because there always is a simple fix. Alright, so what I'm going to do. Holy crap, I really messed that up. Okay, so ZModeler. Okay, ZModeler doesn't play well with dynamic draw size, so just say skip until next restart, and it's just going to turn the dynamic wrap back on. Okay, not a big deal. Okay, so I want to say bridge 2 holes. Okay, I'm going to say polygroup flat, minimum resolution. The rest should be just fine. Okay, so I'm going to click one, click on the next one, and there you go. Ourselves, everything's perfectly lined up. Same thing for this. There we go. Okay, so everything should be good now. Okay, so you see that? I mean, we've got some color issues, which we can go through, and we can here, let's hit C to be able to sample that color, and then we'll just go color, RGB please, color, fill object, same thing here, color, fill object. Okay, sweet. Now that's kind of nice because then it adds a little bit of like a cooked sort of vibe to the edges of the mouth. Yeah, there's a little bit of lagging, so I'm just going to turn off noise. We'll worry about adding the noise back in at some later point. Okay. turn the dynamic subdivisions on, and we are in business, baby. Okay, again, that's what that looks like. Okay, super cool. All the other pieces also have topology done and ready. Okay, this is what the original chocolate looked like. Okay, see it has 2 polygroups. Now what's neat is that I can go through and I can say geometry, ZRemesher. I'm going to keep pretty much everything the same. I'm going to turn off adapt. I'm going to say, let's say keep groups. And then I'm just going to hold Alt and then click ZRemesher. And you know, like Paul was talking about in yesterday's broadcast. Oh, I had symmetry turned on. Control Z. Okay, I don't want to have symmetry turned on when I'm doing ZRemesher because it'll make both sides identical. Okay. Can you import a Z tool from 2018 to 2019? Yes. This subtool that I am working on right now came directly from 2018. I don't think you can go backward, but then again, I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know. But that's a good thing to note. Okay, so you cannot, yes you can go forward. Okay, so anything from previous versions of ZBrush. I don't know how far back. I haven't tried anything like 4R2. If anybody's still on 4R2, I don't know what. I just don't know what. But yeah, so essentially go ahead and update because you'd be doing yourself a favor. Okay, cool. So now that I have symmetry turned off, let's go ahead. I'm going to hold Alt, hit ZRemesher. The target poly count, it's really important to kind of experiment with it because it's going to be different depending on how big your model is in scale with the rest of your scene. So let's just see what it does. Yes, it does open Z tools from R2. Okay, that's good to know. 2.5. Okay. Well, yeah, 2.5 is something. Okay. Okay, so this is pretty much what I have for my other pieces. It gets a little bit messy down here, but you know, just kind of like smooth out where you have to. And you always have ZModeler to be able to really refine those sorts of edges. The reason I didn't go through and do something like this manually is because, I mean, it's a blob. I've got better ways to spend my time. So yeah, got that. So yeah, there's one version. This is the Maple Bar edition, and there's the chocolate. You'll see it's pretty much exactly the same. The only thing that I did is I didn't keep any kind of creasing. You see that it's all nice and rounded there, so that it gives it kind of that look as if it was liquid and it kind of hardened as it went over the surface of the donut dragon thing here. Okay. So real cool. Let me see. I think I am ready to jump in to playing with the environment some. Okay, I'm going to Control S. Let's go ahead and let's say Dragon B2. Okay, just because I don't want to save over that old version. Just, you know, just because. Let me see. Let's go ahead. Let's open up. While that's opening up, it'll be open before I'm done. Yep, there we go. It's already open. Look at that. Cool. Okay. Whew. Okay, so last week, one of the things that we played with was adding in, well, adding in another dragon. Okay. We're going to do a similar thing here, though. We're going to go ahead and let's subtool master. We're going to say fill. Material, okay. And we'll just see this mighty power roll forward. Okay, I think it's done. Yep, it's done. All right. Cool. So, working on playing with ZBrush is getting heated. Indeed it is. Okay. So we've got these dragons kind of coming around the back. Got a lot of things to kind of play with and consider. In fact, here's what we can do, okay? We have the opportunity now to go ahead and use folders. So I'm going to start organizing my things in folders. You guys are getting all sorts of cool things today. Okay, so we want to have the gizmo selected. Okay, I'm going to turn on the pizza boxes. Okay, I'm just going to select just the tree. Okay, just these parts that are belonging to the tree. And then I want to say over here, new folder. Okay, several of the visible subtools is currently activated for multi-transpose. Would you like to create a new folder of containing these subtools? I'm going to say always yes. Okay, it's only going to be until the next restart, but it'll save me having to click on things multiple times. So we're going to title this tree _01. Cool. Once it's done, it's done. All right. Okay. Actually, let's do this. We're going to Control Shift Alt Control Shift. I want this dragon over here. Okay, this is going to be our dragon 2. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. We have our pizza boxes selected. We have our dragon 2 selected. Hugo Leon. How you doing, Hugo? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. It's always fun when you get like the regulars, when you get people in that are, you know, constantly here. It's just fun. It feels like there's a friendship there. It's nice. Okay, so I have that selected. Okay, multiple subtools. Again, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to say new folder. Okay, Dragon 02. Okay. So now if we scroll over here, we can see we've got our tree and we've got our dragon. Okay, super cool. What's cool too is that the pop-up that pops up to the left there, it'll tell you how many subtools are in it and how many total polys and points. It'll give you some other information too. Really helpful. Can I have some popcorn? Yes, you can manipulate the folder. You can do all sorts of things with the folder. So this folder, you have different options of things you can do. You can say transpose set, which, you know, if I don't have that selected, okay, let's just say I don't have that selected, right? No pizza boxes, just one. Okay. Okay, so what I can do is I can click on the gear on a folder. I can say transpose set. Okay, so now I've got that the tree active and ready to transpose. Okay, here's something cooler. Okay, you can come over here and you can select another folder by saying transpose add. Okay, this is awesome. Wow, I'm missing an arm there. That's painful, but yeah, so that's something that you can go through and you can do. Okay, super handy. Okay, cool. Anyway, super cool. So, okay, sold. Glad I could do that for you. Cool. Yes, so, and there are all sorts of other things you can do with it as well. So, if I wanted to, you can show poly paint, hide poly paint on all the subtools within that folder. Okay, so I can just say hide poly paint, and there you go. Everything's kind of turned off. Super awesome. Let's go back to show poly paint. Some of these I haven't played with. Like for instance, there's this merge up. I haven't played with that. In fact, let's just see what it is that it does. Okay, so Dragon Base, this is the top subtool in this folder. My theory is that merge up is going to take all the subtools there and merge it to that top one. So everything's going to become one subtool, and it's all going to be titled Dragon Base. Let's try this. Does anybody else have any theories? Anybody else have any theories? Ooh, that's awesome. It didn't do that. It didn't do what I thought it was going to do. Okay, so what it did is it took everything and it merged it into the folder above it. Okay, that was awesome. That was awesome. Some exciting news from Hugo. I take your advice that night, and I take the awesome concepts from Samnasour. I don't know him. Who is Samnasour? Okay, so we're gonna go through and make a new folder based off of this guy. I'm gonna retitle it Dragon 2. Okay, now these parts didn't get put in. That's fine. I can just go ahead and take them and then, oops, drag them into that folder. Let's put that in there too. All right, cool. So now we have our folder. We can hide and unhide. More importantly, we can collapse. Now this is cool too. Okay, this visible count, I'm just going to grow that some because I don't like having to scroll so much when I'm scrolling through my through my subtool list. Okay, I'm gonna look him up, Hugo. I'm gonna look him up. Okay, Samnasour. All right. Okay, cool. Yeah, Mitch loves popcorn, so. Alright, cool. Okay, so we've got that. Let's do this other dragon. Let's go ahead and we'll just keep combining our oops. Okay, so I'm gonna Control Shift Alt to be able to unselect that. Okay, say new folder, Dragon_01. Yes, it is 2019. Okay. Okay, so now we got our dragons each in their own folder. Okay, playing with organizing our things here. Okay, let's just kind of come over here. Let's say, well, we can turn off the tree, we can turn off the dragons. Okay, just so we can say new folder, pigs. Oh my goodness. Okay, now here's, okay, so I gotta turn off the pizza boxes, and then I've got to go back to my pig and say new folder, pigs. Okay, drop those pigs in. I can hide the pigs. Okay, let's go ahead and make a group for the mountains. Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Bubblegum pigs. Okay, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. Where did I write down my pigs? There we go. Bubblegum pigs. Okay. I dig that. I dig that. Oh, so the thing that we had talked about at the beginning of the stream is that you don't have to actually uninstall 2018. You can if you want to. Whenever I uninstall ZBrush, like through the beta, we have to go through that process continually. So what I did is I always deleted everything, but I always kept the GoZ stuff the same. That was the only thing where I said, like, no, don't delete it, right? So yeah, that's what I would do. You know, go through, I would keep that, but then I would delete everything else. Okay, so what I want to do, let's go ahead, turn our pizza boxes back on. I'm just going to go to my top view. Okay, so now we've got our Oreos. I'm going to say new folder, Oreos, and we can turn those off. Okay, and now we just have our mountain. Okay, so new folder, mountain, and we're good to go. Look at that. Super easy, super clean. 27 subtools crammed into 6 folders. Okay, really, really easy. Okay, licorice llama. Ben Swallow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we can turn the Oreos on. See, this is a functionality that I have wanted to start using in this scene ever since I started with the beta, and I was just like, why can't it just come out now? Now it's out. Dragon 2, Dragon 1, and there's our tree. Oh, look at that. Tree, okay. Tree. Okay, so what I can do now, okay, this is the beginning of my iterative process now. If I wanted to, I could really easy just take this and duplicate the tree. Duplicate, there it is. Hold on, there it is. Okay, I'm gonna close that, turn this one on. Okay, what I want to do is I want to transpose set. Okay, I want to transpose this tree. A tree. I spy with my little eye a tree. Because one of the things that I'm struggling with right now is that I feel that the pigs are really, really small. And so I feel like it's not as compelling. So I probably won't mess with NPR today. I might try to do an NPR render for... It's already 9 o'clock, holy crap. I might try to mess with NPR for my banner image. Still not entirely sure though. Okay. But yeah, guys, this is one of those super powerful functionalities that you get with the new ZBrush. So if you haven't updated yet, I totally recommend getting into it. Hop on it, man. Just hop. Hop, hop, hop. Hop, 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 hop. Okay. So I'm kind of interested. The bot render or the bot sketch render that Drust did in the demo, I need those settings. So those settings are probably already available to you. Let me show you real quick how you get to some of these presets. A lot of the things that Joseph Drust does for ZBrush, for Pixelogic, they make that stuff available. Most everything. So what we can do, I'm going to come over here, let's change some render settings, the BPR shadow, I like to drag that down, drag that up, drag raise up. Okay, let's see, yeah, should be good. Okay, oh, and the other thing that where was it? I wanted to look for was, is under material. Modifiers, you come down to, was it the bottom? No, it wasn't the bottom. Where was it? And that's something that I missed. See if anybody can remember. Can you mask all objects in a folder at once? No. I think I understand your question, and the answer would be no. So masking is still a per subtool functionality. So you have to have the subtool selected in order for it to work. In fact, I need to rename this. So let's go ahead. We're gonna rename folder tree 2. Okay, let's just select this, just so we have our, something that's not intersecting with the head. Let's show you. So we have to start off, in order to get to use the filters, we have to have a render. Okay, so we just hit BPR in the top right hand corner of our document space. Let it do its thing. Okay, so now we've got, a render. I mean, there's a lot to tweak on this, whatever. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna get this render menu, and I'm just gonna dock it over to the side. Okay, BPR filters. So you can see right now it's just fresh. Okay, if we go into our light box, we can come over to filters, and we can just double click on these to be able to cycle through different presets. Okay, so we've got things like, let's get this blueprint. Check that out. Okay, let's change this so we don't have to worry about it taking up so much of the space. Okay. Oh, double click it. Okay, it's respecting the color in a lot of these. Okay. Some really weird effects. Some of these are going to have some really nice, cool. Let's see if we can find some that are really likable. Okay, maybe I look at that and I think, yeah, that's kind of dumb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just say hide poly paint. Let's see. Oh, I don't need to do it on that one. Hide poly paint. There it is. See if I can turn it a little bit so I can see it a little bit better. Hide poly paint. Hide poly paint. And then where are the Oreos? I skipped it. Hide poly paint. Okay. Let's go ahead and hit render. Okay, you see that I didn't take as long because I didn't change the camera at all, so I don't have to worry about it going through and recalculating too much of it. Okay, double click charcoal. So, ooh, that's really disgusting. I don't like how that one turned out. chromatic aberration. This is a cool effect. Yeah, it doesn't really work well on this model though. A lot of what you're going to see though is that it's going to come in and it's going to load in. You'll see some of these become active. So if the circle is closed or if it's filled in, that means that that filter is not active. If it's open, that means that it's being occupied. It's more of a slot. So you can take that slot and you can slide whatever you want into it. Kind of like a console. You can, that one's kind of lame for this particular model. Here's the one that Drust had of his robot. Okay. So you can see the way that it treated my model as it is right now. Let's do this. Let's turn on polypaint. I'm gonna hit render again. Let's see what it is that it does. Okay, there we go. Now we're starting to get something kind of likable. So it really just kind of depends on what it is that you have active. What do you have turned on? Yeah, so ZBrush, this will still work. It should still work with the Keyshot bridge. There are a lot of people using it. I actually didn't take anything over into Keyshot because I was trying to test out a lot of the new features with the filters and things like that. So I was trying to stay with BPR inside of ZBrush as much as possible. But yeah, this really defines the word Zomf. What? I saw these filters in the live show earlier today. So dope. Yeah, it's pretty dope. Okay, the new ZRemesher still have those spirals. No. The spirals from old versions of ZRemesher, those don't happen. ZRemesher 1.0, yeah, you got tons of spirals. So you know, ask anybody that used it. It was pretty terrible. But now, you know, we don't have that kind of, you know, those same problems anymore. Oh, here we go. This is one of my favorites. Okay, now it doesn't work super well for this particular render, but this is Pablo Munoz's render set that was showcased during the presentation. Ofair, he's the one that's kind of responsible for ZBrush. He made a whole bunch of filters. In fact, he did an entire demo by himself one day for the beta team. It was kind of fun. Showed us a ton of stuff, and it was just like, but yeah, so if you ever get the chance to meet Ofair, make sure to tell him thank you for ZBrush. There you go, get like a 16-bit sort of feel. Yeah, all sorts of. Ooh, that one's cool. Long, dude, that looks awesome. I hadn't seen that one. Okay. Okay. Here's what I gotta do. Okay, so these buttons over here to the right of your document, you can use these to kind of zoom in and out, but this is zooming in and out to your document. It's kind of like taking your piece of paper. Consider your document like a piece of paper, and you're like moving around like where it is you're seeing it. So you can say zoom, you can say scroll. I'm just picking up that piece of paper, moving it around. Okay, hitting actual means it's taking it and it's making it 100%. So you're looking at it at full zoom. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, let's that's insane. Holy crap, dude. That has easily, like, no competition, that has easily just become my favorite filter set. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I want to be able to get back to this spot, to this particular angle and things like that after I've worked on the scene some. So here's what I'm gonna do. You can do a few things, okay? You can lock your camera, okay? So that means I don't have to worry about rotating my camera. It's not doing anything for me. That's really helpful. I don't do that very often. Yeah, I just don't. However, if you're working on, you know, I guess they showed you some stuff in the presentation, probably about halfway through. Yeah, totally agreed with you there, Ghost. Hone in on it and play with it some and figure out kind of how to make that work more for what I want. But yeah, really cool. So what I usually do to be able to save my views, I go into movie, timeline, and then we can say show. Okay. So all I have to do is to be able to save a view, I can just tap on the timeline and it leaves a little tick mark. Okay. So now if I wanted to come in here and maybe see this, that looks like a good shot right there. We're gonna play with it. The other thing I can do, so another tick mark. If I wanted to go back to the other angle, I just hit my left arrow and I'm there. If I want to go back to the other one, hit my right arrow and I'm there. I can still navigate around, I can still look at things from different angles, you know, whatever I want to do. But, you know, it still gives me that flexibility. Okay, so one of the things I want to do, I want to hold Alt and tap on perspective. Okay, so this gives me the opportunity to play with my focal length. Okay, this is like how wide angle my lens is. Okay, so I'm just going to take it and just play with it some. Okay, it looks like the farther up I get, the more orthographic I get. Okay, so let's take it down like really low. Let's see. Yeah, some of these things I haven't actually played with. So, well, you can undo your camera too. That's kind of a fun feature. Yeah, we'll put it up like that. Something like that. Okay, so now, and here's something to kind of keep in mind. If you use your regular default ZBrush camera, this is not the camera that will transfer over into other programs. The camera that will transfer over into other programs like Maya or 3ds Max or Keyshot or any of those other programs, that's this one. So in order for that to work, I have to have this on, and I have to actually play with, you know, my different options over here. So get my focal lengths, playing with it, you know. It doesn't look like it's actually doing anything. Why isn't it doing anything now? I'm not sure exactly what was going on, why it wasn't doing much, but yeah. Anyway, so. Now it's a good time to just kind of play around, tweak with it. It sounds weird. Okay, if I wanted to adjust it and I want to get rid of the old one, I just click on it, drag it off onto the document space, and we're good. Okay, so we got this going on. You think perspective is overriding it? You might be right. Or maybe it was this because I had turned this off, I think. Or maybe I'd actually turned it on just now. I'll have to watch the replay later. So yeah, we'll just play with that. We'll let it be. We'll call it good. Okay, so now if we were to go through and hit render, let's see what that looks like. Now the cool thing is that if we get a cool render out, if we want to be able to save this and share it to whoever and whatever whenever, yeah, so the perspective We'll try it. We'll try it in a second. Cool. Okay, the details are really, really small for this particular image now. So I mean, I'd have to go through and tweak it and play with it. But in order to save your document, in order to save your image, you go Document, Export, and you can change your photo type. Just change it to JPEG. And you can see I've got my different you say progress 12, something like that. You can see all those little details. Look at that. Now, what this is using, I don't remember if you, or I don't know if you remember or not, but in the presentation from yesterday, Joseph Drust was talking about there's a functionality where you can change the angle with the different render filters, and what it'll do is it'll add in hatching or patterns or textures as specific gradient intensities. So for instance, you can see in it's going one direction for this type of this gradient of gray. Okay, this power of gray, I guess, is going in one direction. But as soon as you get into the darker shadows, it changes directions, and then it changes directions again and again and again and again. You can see it change directions over here in the eyes. Really, really cool. I like how that's working. So I'm just going to hit OK, and we'll have that saved. Okay. So in order to find that, in order to figure out where we have that, let's see. I'm going to scroll it. Actually, let's take it over to the other side. You can turn off draw. Yeah, no, so the perspective was kind of messing with things. Turning it off made it worse. Okay, so let's figure out how to make these details bigger. Let's see which of these filter slots has it. So we only have to pay attention to the ones that have the open circle. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select one. You can see it has a contrast auto gray, so it's not going to be this one. But if you wanted to be able to check to make sure, you can just tap. So you can see it doesn't affect the lines. It's affecting kind of the color, what's happening, but it's not affecting the lines. So let's come down to this one. Orton, it's not going to be that one. Texture overlay, it's probably this one. Okay, so to be able to check and make sure, I'm going to check it. Okay, so that's one of them. Okay, so it looks like there are more than one. Okay, let's turn it back on. So let's take this and we can look for, okay, texture overlay, cavity. I'm trying to remember, this wasn't one that I had gotten into. Scroll it up like that so we can see it. Start kind of playing with it. Oh, too big. And right now we can see it's set to overlay, so we can experiment with that some. Try changing it to like soft light. Nah, I don't like that. It's too white. Add. No, way too bright. Let's try color burn. Well, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool, and it's kind of giving me a little bit bigger detail. It's kind of almost making it feel dollar billy. The hard thing with this sort of thing is that it's making everything darker. Okay, it's burning the color. Okay, this is literally what it's doing. So you can think of it that way. I mean, obviously we can go over here. We can change the opacity of things, but in areas like in here in the eyes, turn back up. in the eyes, you're getting this really cool pattern and texture inside of the dark part of the eyes because it's a color burn. But in the lighter parts, you're not really getting, it's not affecting it the same way. It's not affecting it, you know, the way that we'd like. Overlay is how it was originally, Jorge. So that's something we were just kind of playing with. I'm Dollar Billy. Cheap date. Love it. Okay. So let's scroll this down a little bit so we can see different parts of it. But yeah, I dig that. I guess just for the sake of comparison, let's take it back to overlay. Yeah. Let's see if we can just take it back to about where it was. Okay. Overlay is pretty cool, but it's still not quite exactly what I'd like. Anyway, so yeah, and that's how you can go through. You can kind of play with your different sets. I'm going to go ahead. Let's say I want to save these views. Let's say document export, just to make sure that we can keep the 12B. Okay. All right. Okay. So for right now, I don't want to worry too much about filters or anything like that. Yeah, render passes are pretty cool. Multi-pass, I don't know. It's something that I'd like to be able to play with. There are a lot of things in here I'd like to play with. But for right now, let's go ahead and close that down. Let's hide our dragons. Yeah, we can hide the tree. Yeah, let's keep the tree. Let's hide the pigs. Let's keep the dragons for now. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to figure out more of this composition. Right now, it's bothering me a lot that there's still so much brown, so much chocolate, okay? I feel like I've covered so much in this stream so far, guys. I feel like I'm on some sort of roll or something. I gotta celebrate. I gotta celebrate. This is what I gotta do. Celebrate with some reference. Reference. That's something that I had actually thought about. I think it would be smart for me to go through and do, instead of the chocolate just being one gradation of chocolate, having it be so that it's got swirl to it, some sort of marbling. Okay. This bag, oh, it looks like it's crumbled some. Shoot. This bag is my Untouchables, okay? This is chocolate, okay? It's pure chocolate. And it's awesome. So this chocolate is chocolate that I won't be eating because there's specific shapes. But this chocolate is good chocolate, and I'm gonna eat it. All right. Cool. So let's start playing with what else we can put on here. I'm glad you like the dragons there, Ghost. They've been fun. They've been fun so far. Still a long way to go. I mean, I still need to add the chocolate and sprinkles running down their backs. But and I need to refine their hands and their arms. But you know, it is what it is. Okay. Gonna eat some reference. Got some burrito donkeys. Awesome. Okay, let me see. Okay. So I want to add in some shrubbery. I want you to bring me a shrubbery. Let's do this. We're going to grab, let's see, Control-Shift-D. Okay. I almost jumped into like a Maya mode. I almost hit Shift-P. It's like it doesn't work like that. Okay. So I'm going to take this, say solo, because we don't really need everything. Actually, let's look at it real quick. Okay. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I just want to start with this piece. We'll say geometry, modify topology, delete hidden. Let's start taking this and using it to create, you know, I'll probably just go ahead and sculpt quite a bit on this just for the sake of, actually let's do this. Thought about ice cream. The hard thing for me about ice cream, putting ice cream in here, is I don't know. Let me see. More ice cream. Yeah, they kind of do look like mint meringue cookies. I don't feel like that's going to be right. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Okay, that's really funny. You see, this is the effect that I was hoping for when I started turning up the focal length. You know what? I wonder if this will fix it. Nope. I was hoping that would change the way that I was looking at it. But yeah, anyway, it's kind of funny. Anyway, so let's go ahead. Let's just kind of skip past the dragon for a second. What I want to do, let's go into perspective. Let's just change this down to something somewhat natural. Okay, there we go. Okay, hit actual. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to come over here, load brush, and I've got all sorts of brushes that I've made for this project. I'm going to hit gumdrops. what I want is this gumdrop. I just want to use gumdrop for right now. Chocolate smoothie. Brush. We're going to say to mesh. Okay, so now we've got our little gumdrop. Okay. I need to go through and fix this so that it has the polygroups set the way that I'd like. Okay. So, here's what I want to do. I want to Control-Shift-D, and I'm going to kind of just hide all of that. Say delete hidden. Let's get a lighter color. Okay, so what we're going to do, oh, I need to load my IMM primitives brush too. I have my own primitives brush that I went through and developed. So I was telling you before, I've got a folder that I'm developing with things that I feel like are must-haves. So I have this must-haves folder, brushes, okay, IMM primitives, which is my own set of primitives. These are, some of them are the ones that come default with ZBrush, but a lot of these are ones that I went through and just built out really quickly. So like these rings, or a simple ring, or a cone, really, really nice. Okay, so I'm going to go through. I have the Q cube selected. Okay, I'm going to go brush. I'm going to say create nanomesh brush. Okay, reselect my Q cube. You'll notice that my icon changed to ZModeler, just regular cube. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's go over to our nanomesh tray over here, and we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to hold spacebar. I'm going to say all polygons, and we're just going to draw it out. Okay. Now this doesn't look like, it looks like the Dalek or whatever they're called from Doctor Who. So what I want to do is I want to actually go ahead and hit random distribution. We're going to say random seed. Okay, just kind of play with it a little bit. Essentially what I want to do, okay, is I want to make this like a sugar grain, granular sugar, whatever. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to play with our width. And well, we're going to play with width variance a little bit, just so we can get, you know, some variation. We'll get length. Play with this. Same thing with the variation. In fact, we don't really need to add that much. Okay, and then the height is one that I actually want to take down. We can kind of turn this so we look at it from the bottom so we can see more or less what's going on. Okay, so you can see kind of what's happening. It's a little bit too, it wasn't the width, it was the length. Okay. And then we want to change the rotation. Okay. The variation, change that up. Change all these rotations up. It just give it like a lot of randomization. And now we can increase our distribution. You can see it's kind of starting to get more of that, you know, that kind of that sugar-coated sort of feel. Okay. Doctor Who? It was funny. My sisters are super into Doctor Who, and I know who it is. I watched one episode, never touched the series again. It was the one with the weeping angels. It was too much. With some good chocolate. Okay.
Okay. That looks pretty good. What we'll do is we'll go to geometry and we'll say convert BPR to geo. Okay. You can see that instantly super boosted our active points. That's because now we have actual geometry in place of actual geometry instead of nanomesh. Okay, so delete hidden, and now turn off solo. Solo. Now I'm curious. It feels a little bit. I probably should have just covered the whole thing. So let's go back. Okay, I'm going to say copy. Okay, now this will give me the opportunity to just undo. Okay, until I have the whole thing there. And then we can say turn it on, hit paste, and there we go. Now I've got the whole thing covered in sugar. Same thing, geometry, convert BPR to geo. You can see the different polygroups. I'm just going to hide that one. Delete hidden. Cool. I don't need dynamic subdivision turned on, by the way. Love nanomesh. I used it a couple of times for large sand grains on base, grass too. Yeah, it's great, and it's great because you can use whatever you want to use. So yeah, it just really makes it super simple. Let's take this, and we're going to say merge down. Okay, let's give it a name. Let's just call it gumdrop for now. I got to get back over to my, not that, to my, oop, I almost got there, to my gumdrop brush. What I want to do is I want to add this to the brush. Okay, so I'm just going to hit Control D, shoot, Control W. Okay, and that'll make everything the same polygroup. Okay. I'm debating. Here's what we're gonna do. Okay. Let's say split groups. Okay, say always okay, that's fine, whatever. Okay. Let's take that, put that up. Okay, I'm going to turn off dynamic, and I'm going to just smooth it once. Geometry, let's say delete lower. And the reason is that I just really want this to not be super, what's the word, like faceted when I draw it out. So let's go ahead and do that. So under subtool, merge down, okay. Now we have this nice gumdrop. So to be able to turn on dynamic subdivisions, if you don't have subdivisions applied to your model, you can just hit D. Okay, you'll see, like, you know, if I hit Shift D, it's going to take us out of that. But if you hit D, it's going to take you into that. Ooh. You know what, guys? Found an issue. something I didn't think of. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Okay, I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but each of these sprinkles has a subdivision level attached to it, and it's just purely because of the brush that I used. So yeah, I should have the not that. Let's go ahead. I'm going to select my brush. This is this Q cube. This is what has the subdivision levels to it. I'm pretty sure that's just the default one that I had. And you know what? I need to save the gumdrop brush once I add this gumdrop. But I keep hitting the wrong buttons. All right, let's go and do this. Let's say. Let's go into this. This will work just fine. We'll say initialize. And we'll just take our resolution down to 111. Okay, so you see this, now we got our standard cube. No perspective. Okay, make sure that I'm looking straight down at it. Let's go brush, create insert mesh, append, skip. Okay, that's fine. Okay, cool. Well, it's now we have this. Oh, it's named improperly. Okay, let's delete. It's always so funny. It's like I felt like it was going so well, and then all of a sudden I had one thing that kind of slipped me up. How about that? All right. Cube. Simple. Now we can go brush, create insert mesh, append. Okay, I don't like that it's at the opposite end of the list. If you guys know of a way to be able to actually transport that over to the other end, I am all ears. It's not something that I know about, so maybe I'll look for it, try to figure it out. Okay, so let's get back to this. Control-Shift-D. Okay, just so that we can have a duplicate. And let's just get rid of those. We're going to say geometry, delete hidden. Okay, so same thing. Well, let's say select icon, because I have an icon for this brush. Okay, so let's say brush, save as, IMM primitives. That's great. I'll have to add it to my folder later. If you want to be able to save a brush so that it's there every time you load up, you do the same thing. You go to your Pixelogic folder underneath your C drive, program files, Pixelogic, ZBrush 2019, ZData, brush presets, and now you're good to go. So I'm going to just go ahead and put it in here. I'm going to say yes, I want to replace it. Okay, now we're good. Now my brush is going to replace the one that comes default with ZBrush, which will have all these shapes that for me are preferable and usable, things like that. Okay, cool. So now we want to go ahead and say create nanomesh brush. All polygons. Okay, just drag that out. Go back to nanomesh. Let's see if we can hit paste. And let's check this out. Convert to GP. Yeah. So it kept the information from the last time I copied the nanomesh settings, and ooh, that's not fun. Okay, so something that I forgot to do. You see how it's got different polygroups? I don't want those polygroups in there. So we're just gonna go over here
It's not a big deal for the mesh that I went through and dragged out. I'm not going to do that again. We're going to come over here. We're going to say delete mesh. Oh, copy meshes. I'm guessing that means that you can take it over and move it over to another brush. That's helpful. Cool. All right, so create insert mesh. Okay, so we'll say append. Now we've got this Q brush simple. And actually that's for the wrong brush. Same thing here. We're just gonna do that. Delete the mesh. Create insert mesh, append. We'll come back up here, select our icon. ZBrush must-haves. Get yourself a must-haves folder. Okay, so there we go. So we got that going on. And let's go ahead, let's make sure, yeah, we did save it, right? IMM primitives, save it, replace it. Okay, now we're good. Now we're good. Okay, so for this gumdrop, all I gotta do, Control W, and we're good. Okay, so now we've got this sugar-coated gumdrop. This is something that we had when we were kids. In fact, let's do it like this. Okay. We're gonna say deformation, inflate. That feels a little bit better. We'll use that. Okay. That was fun. Never had to actually block somebody before. But I will. I will if I have to. I feel like I'm slowing down for sure. So, what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and insert mesh. We'll hit append. Okay. So there's our gumdrop. Okay. Let's go over tricky. Okay. Say brush, delete mesh. Yeah, no, not that one. Come on. Let's actually do it this way. Because in having the two poly groups, this will help so that when I go through and add materials, it could be simpler. So let's this is wishful thinking. Create insert mesh, append. Okay, so now we can go over to our scene. There it is. The follow Twitch. It's funny because, like, I don't know, trolling is a real thing. It really happens. It's like even yesterday for the reveal, if you will, of ZBrush 2019. I mean, there were some pretty terrible trolls there too. I mean, in the end, it just doesn't matter. It's just one of those things, people are just trying to ban hammer.
I need to make like a prop, a band hammer prop. It's like, but it's like, I mean, that's the first time. Hopefully, it's the last time too. You know, it's not fun. You know, if you're gonna come into a setting like this, you know, come to have fun. We want to have people. We want to have people around, but I mean, if you're gonna come and be a head full of crap, I mean, it's just not fun. Ooh, yes. Okay. These gumdrops are gonna be pretty cool. Okay, so I don't need these pieces anymore. We're gonna say delete hidden. Okay, so now what's cool is I can come over here and if I hit hold control while I'm dragging it out, then it'll bring the size to the size of the brush. If I hold control and then hold shift, ooh, look at that. How did that happen? Whew, that's quite the gumdrop. What's cool though is that it'll kind of orient itself if you hold shift when you're dragging it out to whatever direction the gizmo is pointing. Okay, since the last gizmo that I drew out before this, or since the last gumdrop that I drew out before this was pointing at an angle, it's not pointing up and down. It's not pointing straight up and down, which is fine. It totally works. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of drag that over. And what's nice is that I can kind of experiment with different sizes. I'm trying to decide though. Control new. Okay. I'm trying to decide because right now if I shrink and grow these, right now I don't have perspective on, so this is a literal size comparison. Okay, smallest, medium, and large. Okay, you can see if you zoom in here pretty close, the sprinkles, the sugar crystals on the smallest one, they're starting to get really small. For the big one, you know, obviously they're, you know, they're bigger. They're proportionate in each gumdrop to the size that the gumdrop is. So what I'm going to do, okay, let's go. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna say polygroup. Ooh, are they intersecting? Oh, they're not intersecting, but they almost are. Okay, so I'm gonna polygroup island, or just the island actually, because easier. Okay. Just kind of get rid of these. What I can do is I can change over to select lasso. It's just easier to get rid of stuff sometimes. Really all I'm doing is hiding stuff, so it's not really deleting anything. It's just not visible at the moment. Okay, so we can invert that. Okay. Let's do this. We're gonna go Control W. Just to make sure that they're different colors. Let's go ahead and we'll say, change back to the select rectangle.
Oh, I guess they would have been drawn out at different times. But this just makes it so that it's really easy to decipher what's what. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, let's go ahead. We're gonna say poly paint. We're gonna say colorize poly paint from poly groups. You can see it gives us our nice colors. And now when we unhide our sprinkles, our little sugar sprinkles, we get something nice. Okay. Let's go into skin shade though. The colors are like a bit too bright, so I'm just gonna let's grab something that's just off-white, and we're just gonna unify it a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna take our color, take it down to like 10% with RGB, and let's say color, fill object. Just hit that a few times. And you can see that it's starting to make the colors feel more pastel-y. Okay. And those are starting to feel like gumdrops. Boom. So cool. Okay. But because we're going to need some more colors too. Here's what we'll do. We'll use these 3 sizes, but let's change away from ZModeler. Don't want ZModeler right now. Use our move brush. Okay, we have just the sprinkles and the small ones selected. Say deformation, and we'll just inflate it up a couple times. Okay, so hopefully that'll be good enough to kind of get the point across. Okay. Now here's where we can come up. Let's say maybe we want to add some sort of like some sort of mountaintop. I don't know. We could do like we did on the cones and add like a drizzling of frosting. I kind of want to come in here and just kind of paint it on. And so I'm just using the mask. Okay, it's just simply painting on my mask. Okay, so you can see, I mean, it's just this piece alone, so I can't really paint the other pieces yet. But in order to make this into something, I can go subtool, extract, and boom. That's a little bit too thick, so we're gonna take this down some. That's looking better. We'll hit accept. Okay, let's check this out. So we got this extract, and it created it within that folder. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It's useful because it's helping us to stay even more organized. Okay, so here we go. Oh, that's interesting. It gave me a funny little hole. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say delete polygroup island. We'll just get rid of that.
And we'll just collapse the hole. And then go and collapse the other hole. And now we're good. Okay, did I get any more of those sorts of things? Doesn't look like it. Cool. 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 Trying to figure out, do you guys like having the camera off to the side over here? Over here? Over here? Or would you rather have the camera up on the screen? You know, to me it's like, I feel like I've got a friend next to me and it's easy to point at the screen, because when I point at the screen, I'm pointing at the screen on the screen. It's like I'm pointing at my monitor, but you guys see me pointing at the screen, so it just makes sense. Dante, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. So what do you guys think? Is that something that is that something that you guys mind? Do you like it better one way or another? Let's see, we're gonna say uncrease all, then we're gonna say crease PG. Okay, let's just mask that. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll say polish. And essentially all I'm doing is just the same exact thing that I did on the chocolate on the top of the dragon's head, except that this is giving me, yeah, something fun, something visually more fun on the top of the mountain. But I don't know, we'll see. Let me know if you guys think that that's cool or not. If you don't, yeah, I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking about it. You like the side, looking at it from the side better? Yeah, because I mean, otherwise, got you like up here, and I can just, you know, like glance up when I say hell yeah. It's kind of fun. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm a fan of having that this little snow cap extract there, so we might just turn that off. Okay, so far we've got these gumdrops. Let's go back to them. Let's rename them. Gumdrops. Keep picturing a mystical water source in the mountain. Yeah, I do too. Like having it so that we've got the waterfall here. It's like we get this. Let's see if we can. No, not that. Okay, there we go. Just hold control and kind of pull it up. I mean, something else that I kind of thought of is having it so that it's like, I'm gonna have to have like multiple pieces over here. Let's see. Let's see. We're gonna say QMesh single poly, just for the sake of making sure that I can come over here, say delete. Just gotta delete all these extra little pieces. the reason is that they're going to create some extra weird problems for me down the line if I leave them. So let's turn this on. What I can do, yeah, let's do that. So I can hit insert. Okay, so we got that on there. Okay. Have like little bits of water kind of tunneling off the side over here. Tunneling, cascading. How can I make a low poly model in ZBrush under 5K the whole model? Let's. You know what? People were asking about my process for the dragon head, so let me show you. Hey, how you doing? So let's do this. I'm gonna hit save. Okay, now the really cool thing about this is that I'm now on new version of ZBrush, so I gotta save it as new version of the file. Okay, let's go back over here. Does that sound like something interesting to you guys? Being able to go in and see more of like the process of how I got to the head that I have now. I mean, it started with something like this. Buenos días. ¿Cómo te va? ¿Bien? Pues espero que bien. Que lo merece mucho. Okay. Okay, so you can see right here, essentially what I did is I created polygroups. Okay. I'm going to let's just get over these curves. Delete. Okay, just so you guys can see. Alright, let's turn off lines so you guys can see the polygroups. What I wanted to do is I wanted to define as well as possible what is like where I wanted panel loops to happen, and so I ended up going through and splitting up my model with polygroups, including right down the center. Okay, but I wanted to make sure that there were rings around the eyes. I wanted to make sure that there was a topology flow that went up the nose and around the eyes like that, a flow that went around the horns, around the inside of the mouth. Okay, you can see like it goes up in a ring, but it also divides in half. Okay, so no, I've never been to Australia. ¿Cómo estoy tú? Estoy cansado. Cansadísimo. No, en verdad que yo verdaderamente quiero descansar. Quiero acostarme ahorita. Bueno, ya estoy pasado la hora, pero quiero demostrar esto un poquito. So, after I go through and kind of just split this up, you can do this in all sorts of different ways. You can just mask and then hit Control W for your polygroups, or you can use things like your slice curve. I use slice curve a lot.
Okay, and you'll notice that like there's a difference. This line going down right down the center, it's really straight, really clean, but the rest of the lines are really kind of jagged. Not a big deal. They're all jagged because I use that masking technique for those. And the one down the middle is nice and straight because I use the slice. So to be able to get this to work correctly, okay, I mean this is the new ZRemesher. So it's going to Gracias. En verdad yo viví 2 años en Chile como misionero para la iglesia y mis suegros son nicaragüenses. Así que como yo tengo, bueno, más encima de eso, yo vivo en Los Ángeles, así que yo tengo muchas oportunidades para practicar. So with the ZRemesher, there are a few things that I like to go through and think about. Okay, right now I have some things. It already has some settings brought in. I want to turn off adapt. I haven't really changed these settings, the adapt size and the curve strength. It just doesn't matter a whole lot. The adaptive size, I guess it does matter. It'll change how close to square your polygons are that ZRemesher creates. I'm going to say keep groups, and I learned from the broadcast yesterday the difference between freeze groups and keep groups. Keep groups is going to use the groups the polygroups that exist as a guideline. Sí, está bien hablar en español. Va a ser un poquito difícil pues que los demás entiendan, pero así que por eso estoy tratando siempre de poder hacer los streams en inglés, pero siempre estoy disponible para contestar o para platicar o tirar la talla en español. Bueno, tirar la talla en Chile quiere decir como bromear, tirar chiste, pues. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to leave the target polygon count at 0.1 for right now. We could take it up higher, but I just like taking it down as low as I can first and adjusting later. So just to be able to have it something to compare to, I'm going to hit Shift S to be able to take a screenshot. Okay. I'm going to hold Alt, just because I always do. Oh, here's the other thing I do. I like to get rid of pieces that will be holes. Okay. ZBrush is really good at creating topology around holes. So this is just a nice way to be able to better control your ZRemesher. So I'm going to hit delete hidden. Okay, hold Alt and hit ZRemesher, and let's just see what it turns out. If you keep speaking Spanish that well, Trump will be after you. Yeah, if he comes after me. Can't wait until that buffoon is out of the White House. By the way, I shouldn't be expressing political views on here because they in no way reflect Pixelogic's political stance. So I need to just kind of, but I feel very strongly. Okay, that turned out really poorly. Let's try adjusting a little bit. Okay,
I'm actually going to try using the legacy. I'm going to hold Alt, and hit ZRemesher with that legacy option turned on. The legacy option is what I had used before because I was using ZBrush 2018. So hopefully this should give me a more predictable result. What is it doing? Maybe without pressing Alt? Do I have anything masked? Good grief, what is it doing? Okay, I'm going to take this and turn this up to something like 2. Okay, we're just going to try to get something workable out of it, because I swear these are the steps that I use to be able to make this work. So, oh, it's starting to get somewhere. Okay, I'm going to turn off legacy. Just remember this helpful tip. If it's negative, it's fake new. I'd use the there we go. It's starting to get somewhere. Okay. Let's take this up a little bit higher because it's not really giving me exactly what I want. So we're just gonna go ahead. I held Alt. I turned off the legacy mode, which would be the ZRemesher from 2018. There we go. See, this is starting to get much closer to what it is that I want. Okay. So you can see it's starting to create fairly clean, fairly good topology that's going around. Let's see. Let's hit Control N to be able to get rid of that old screenshot. Okay, you can see it's following the poly grouping that I had. Okay. Very nice. Okay. It doesn't really look like a whole lot, but it's starting to get somewhere that I can use. Okay. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and take this down. Let's take it down now. That's maybe 2.5. Okay, so you can see it's starting to get a lot cleaner now. Okay. Some of these things I don't really need. Don't really need these things in here to exist. So what I'm going to do, let's just get rid of some of these things. So let's go ahead and let's like collapse poly loop. Okay. You see that? That's good. That's good stuff right there. Okay. This one's kind of tricky because it's just really messy. Okay, some of those. We'll just these areas that we want ZRemesher to go through and kind of, you know, fix. Okay. Let's do this. We're gonna say close let's say concave hole. That's fine because I just want to close those holes up. It's not really helping me at the moment to have them open, so we're just gonna close them up. Okay. Let's go ahead and hit ZRemesher again. I'm going to turn off to keep groups. Yeah, you see that? As soon as I did that, it cleaned it up quite a bit. Okay, so instead of just doing it like that, let's do this. I'm going to take this adaptive size down all the way to 0. This should help keep my squares as square as possible. So I'm going to hit the ZRemesher again. You can see much more uniform.
The problem is that I lost my loop here. Snapple, crapple, and pop. Let's do that. We'll do that. Control W. And let's try polygroup, single poly. Actually, let's change it to polygroup island. This one we can stitch. Just get rid of that extra little point there. It's not needed. Okay, so polygroup island. Okay, so I'm just going to select it, hold shift to be able to select that polygroup. Okay, so now I can just apply that polygroup to there and to there. So now this polygroup is running down here. So if I change to a single poly, I just want to go through and kind of, maybe not that one. I just want to bridge these two polygroup islands together. Okay.
If you need to flee to Canada, we welcome you. You have to go to class in less than 2 hours. Send help.
Ghost of Christmas Future's got your back. Okay, now we're gonna do it again. Let's say Alt, hit ZRemesher, and now you can see it's following the outline of our groups much better. Let's go ahead. Let's do some of this. See if we can get some better unity with these. Oops. What was that? Control E adds an edge loop. That is insane. Okay. I know everybody probably already knew that. Okay, Control W, Control W, Control W. Okay, I think we need a good news minute. Anybody have any really good news? Something really cool that's happened lately? Okay, there we go. Okay, we'll do something like that. Okay, now that I'm keeping my groups, let's go ahead and change our size down a little bit. Okay, it looks like it's definitely not wanting to keep everything. Oh, here we go. Okay, so here's kind of a trick way around this. Let's go ahead, I'm going to say split. Where's split? There we go. So I'm on my edge action, split edge. Okay, going to split like that. Okay, I'm going to hit delete edge. Okay, so now I've got a poly loop that goes through here. Okay, I want to select this poly, so I'm gonna click on it and then hold shift. Now I can go ahead and select on that. I can get that.
Okay. Let's see, close hole. We're gonna polygroup, hold shift, click, click. Okay. I'm just trying to make sure that all of my pieces, all my ducks are in a row. Okay, I'm gonna take it down to 1. Hold shift, or hold alt, hit the ZRemesher, and there we go. Now this isn't perfect, this isn't 100% of the way there. There's still some little pieces and things that we need to refine in order to make this something that's usable. But really, really quickly, we were able to get something that's pretty close to there. Like this right here, I would definitely want to have some edges kind of going up between the eyes. I don't like having this point right here. I wouldn't deform very well when if it were to be animated or sculpted or really anything. So yeah, I mean, that's 133 steps. Okay, so we got this, Shift S, out of this. Okay. So there's a lot of difference, a lot of things where we need to go through and kind of re-sculpt or re-push and pull. Jorge, I'm not sure I understand what instant meshes would be. There's nothing instant about any of these processes. But yeah, I mean, this gets me really, really close, where then I can go ahead and I can say, use my move brush, and I can start, you know, pushing and pulling these points in the directions I need them to go. All sorts of fun stuff. A lot of ways I need to fix the nose in order to make that work right. Okay. And then if you got it to a certain point, you could even, I mean, one of the things I would do probably is even just go ahead and delete the tip of the nose, or delete different parts that maybe just don't matter right now. I would probably even delete the whole spans of edge loops going through. So anyway, see you, Dark Sky. See you next week. Yeah, it's an open source software that uses normal directions, some weird algorithm. Okay, I think I might have heard of it. Not entirely sure though. Not entirely sure. But yeah, anyway, so you know, it's just kind of the rough flow, and then I just use a lot of ZModeler to be able to get these, to be able to get the flow really down the way that I need it, so I can like stitch these 2 points together. Let's see, let's take these two, stitch them together. Okay. Yeah, I mean, really, you'd probably want this to flow down and round. We want this to have an edge that kind of flows out this way. All sorts of things. It's kind of tricky. But we'll worry about that with a different model, because we've already got our model. I already went through that process. And actually, I can't remember if I streamed it on my channel or not. But yeah, I mean, he's there. He is there. One of the things I need to do eventually before I go ahead and put these into the final pose is I need to get this the jelly on the inside of the mouth. I need to give it some good bumps modeled into it so that it feels like jelly. It's kind of fun. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, guys. Awesome. Yeah, definitely pushing in the right direction. Definitely pushing in the right direction. Yeah, and I think that ZRemesher has definitely made some good changes. I mean, if you watch the broadcast from yesterday, you'll see some really cool changes and see the ways that it can handle hard surface remeshing. Amazing. Okay, so much better. But yeah, I was hoping to have, for those of you let me see. Well, I mean, so technically the way that I have my Wacom, this is for Rogelio on Twitch. The way that I have my stylus set up, I have the one that's closest to the tip. I have that set up in my settings as a right mouse button, and then I have the one behind it set up as my middle mouse. Makes it really easy when I'm working in Maya. Inside of ZBrush, the right mouse button is really all that matters. But so neither of them are working, or is it just the one? But I mean, technically, I was only able to get the my ZBrush license for 2019 working maybe 10 minutes before the stream, maybe maybe less. So yeah, the UV tool is something that they wanted to be able to work through some more. They weren't able to get it quite to where they wanted it. So that's something that they'll be working on for a later release. Yeah, it's something that I really wished that I could get my hands on, because it's something that I was really, really excited about. But yeah, what can you do? Yeah, so that's kind of all I've got for tonight. That was, we covered so much and then got into tangents and all sorts of other things. Gumdrops are great. I was glad I was able to show you guys a little bit of this and being able to show you the topology and a little bit of the process. There's a lot of work that goes into it after running it through ZRemesher, but it's at least usable. It's really, really a good way to be able to get something that's workable. And then, you know, just fun to be able to go through and play with the setting and being able to add in some gumdrops, and hopefully I can add enough of a setting later to make it feel a bit more like an environment. Right now it just feels like a lump of brown, and so with some cookies just sticking out of it. So, you know, we'll be having fun with that. Anyway, thank you guys for coming and tuning in and having fun with me tonight. Technically, yeah, keep your eyes out over the next few days. If you're interested in the subscription version of ZBrush, you will be seeing some codes popping up in the coming days. I wanted to have mine listed over there underneath, you know, down along the bottom, but I wasn't able to get it figured out. So, you know, keep your eyes out in the next few days. You'll see people from the beta team posting a code for you to be able to get a discount if you're going to go in and get your a subscription basis, a subscription license like they had talked about. Okay, so keep your eye on that. It'll be really helpful for you. And yeah, again, thanks for coming and hanging out. And I had bucket loads of fun. Go hug the people you love. High five, guys. Go do awesome stuff. And we'll see you next Wednesday, 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And yeah, keep ZBrushing.